Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. Hosted by Brian Poduska. And sponsored by Real Property Management Focus. Certainty Home Lending. Donovan Creative Agency. Bethany Rowan with Rowan Homes. PBJ Mortgage. Best Buddies. The Frisco Rough Riders baseball team. And by Team Watson Redeemers.
The Community Difference Frisco was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Well, good afternoon, Frisco. Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. We are a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I'm your host, Brian Poduska. I'm the owner of Real Property Management Focus right here in Frisco, Texas, where we focus on your real estate investments so you don't have to. We have a great show lined up today. You are watching episode 40 of the Community Difference Frisco. If you have not seen our show before, we're a community-based podcast putting the spotlight on community leaders, and those folks fall into one of 5 different types of categories. Those are business owners, entrepreneurs here in Frisco or doing business in Frisco, Frisco ISD leadership, community leaders, politicians, board members, things like that. Nonprofit leadership, we have one of our sponsors, co-hosts here, not today, but one of our co-hosts on the show is a nonprofit, Best Buddies International, as well as Sports City USA, that's us in Frisco, so we have sports leadership. And we have 2 of the representatives here in Frisco, the Frisco Rough Riders and Frisco Fighters, are co-hosts on the show as well, and show sponsors across all the different communities. So that is us in a nutshell. We also have a business topic, a rotating business topic of the month. So for September, this is our last week of the month. So we've gotten a lot of great insights thus far in September. So we have the final week in September. We're talking about effective top-of-mind strategies, how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. So we will get into that on the show with our guests and our co-host today. I didn't mention, but we do have rotating co-hosts. We have 2 awesome co-hosts today, Miss Debbie Watson and Mr. Ethan Donovan. Let's bring on Debbie first, ladies first, and say hello to Debbie. Debbie, how you doing today?
Good afternoon on this nice fall day.
That's right. It's beautiful outside. I've been out and about. So nice to have that change in temperature. I hope it sticks around. I'm sure we'll have another flirtation or 2 with a 100-degree day, but right now We'll take it.
Yep. Next week, it'll be back in the 90s.
Yeah, well, the old Texas weather, wait 10 minutes and it'll change, right?
Exactly.
Well, great to see you today. Thanks for being on the show. I saw you on Plano yesterday, so you're just making your rounds around all the communities.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Well, good to have you. Do me a favor, just reintroduce yourself to the audience. If they haven't seen the show, they want to know who Debbie Watson is, and then please do introduce your guest.
Okay, great. Well, Debbie Watson, Team Watson Redeemers, where I'm passionate about fostering financial literacy through education and comprehensive solutions. Our goal is to empower individuals to take control of their finances, redeem their lives, and achieve true financial freedom. Let me help you make a meaningful impact in your financial future. I'm so excited today to have Mariele Landrom, who is the director of the LG Academy, which they specialize in micro school for student athletes, focusing on holistic development through academics, emotional intelligence, physical fitness, and sport-specific skills. By fostering resilience, self-awareness, and strong relationships. It equips students to succeed in both sports and life. The Academy emphasizes community impact, cultivating leaders who give back and create positive change through empathy, support, and personal accountability, which I think we all need today. So I'm so excited to have Mariele on so we can learn more about how she is impacting the young lives and others in the community. Hi, Mariele.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on today.
Awesome. Well, Mariele, welcome to the show. Great to see you today. Let me ask you one question. What are you most excited about the show today?
I'm excited just to have a conversation. Honestly, I've been around kids all day, so to be around adults and really talk about why I'm passionate and have a conversation, that's just exciting within itself.
Awesome.
Love it. Well, I can't promise we're going to be much more, entertaining than children, but no, we will have an adult conversation. Look forward to getting into that. Great to see you today, and thank you. All right, Landon, without further ado, let's bring in our other co-hosts, Mr. Ethan Donovan. What's up, young
How's it
man?
going?
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing very well today. Why don't you tell the audience who you are and do me a favor, introduce your guests.
Absolutely. So my name is Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency, where we focus on social media marketing, graphic design, video editing, and videography. We are also an A to Z marketing company, which is one of the only in the DFW area, meaning we come up with the ideas, we shoot the ideas, we edit the ideas, and we post the ideas. And not only do we post it, we also engage with your audience if they are engaging with your content. So as far as my business goes, mostly focused on the social media marketing side and the content creation side of things. As far as my guest goes, my guest today is Danny Monistere, who is a seasoned media research professional with over 35 years of experience specializing in governance, permissible use, and policy and procedures within Nielsen's national TV, local TV, and audio businesses. He has a strong background in data analytics, qualitative research, and operational auditing, making him highly adept at navigating the complexities of media research and regulation.
Love it. Danny, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you, Brian? Nice to meet everyone.
Well, pleasure to meet you. We had the pleasure to meet you a little bit backstage. It's ironic that we have, we've crossed paths in the past with Nielsen. So happy to have you on the show today. Great to meet you. What are you most excited about the show today?
I think that you have a great topic for us to discuss. You get to learn from national brands that do it right. You get to learn from brands that may not do it so well. And so either way, we can look at how it can be applied at a more local and regional level. And so the fact that that this is a topic that just is ripe with examples for us to discuss, that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Love it. That's a great answer. Well, we're going to get into that. Certainly the business topic of the month will be coming up. Before we do that, we have to give our sponsors a little bit of love. So enjoy this short commercial break, and we will be right back.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus. Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending. Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage. Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies. Kristen King Marketing Rep with the Frisco Rough Riders. And by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's up, Frisco?
All right, welcome back. So you just heard the sounder there. This is a segment of the show where we talk about what's going on in Frisco. So we're going to go around the horn here briefly and talk about some exciting events, things going on in Frisco, and some surrounding areas today. Ethan's going to give a little bit of love to where he's currently residing. So with that, let's go ladies first again. Debbie, I'm going to start with you. What's going on in Frisco?
Sure. Yeah. So I just wanted like three short things. But tomorrow there is a new coffee shop. So, we have lots of different coffee shops, but everyone has to stand out. So there is a new coffee shop coming. It's called Rock Coffee Bar. bar coffee. So it is opening tomorrow from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. The great thing is they actually are having free drinks. So you can get a free drink, try out the new place. So that is 423 area between Maine and Stonebridge. So check them out. And then next week, super excited about this, the Kaleidoscope Park that Frisco has been developing is going to just be amazing. They're actually having their grand opening all weekend long. So there's all sorts of events for the kiddos and everything. So should go check that out. And if you check that out and now you say, okay, well, the kids have had fun. Now it's time to go have a beer. Well, then you can go to Oktoberfest at the Star because it's going on that same weekend. So some fun activities in Frisco next weekend. Hopefully the weather looks like it's going to creep back up, but hopefully it'll be, maybe it won't be too hot and you can go out and enjoy. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Debbie. And yeah, I have the pleasure of driving by Kaleidoscope Park almost on the daily. And to watch the development of it's been awesome, and it looks like it's going to be fantastic. So a lot of great stuff over there, a lot of great activities, and it's a gorgeous area. If you appreciate art, there's a lot of sculptures and art throughout that whole development. So definitely come check that out. Great stuff. Ethan, you're up next. What you got, buddy?
Absolutely. So I have 3 events to share with y'all. The first event is Live at Didi's downtown. They do it every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's just something you can do to support a local business off of Main Street. My second event is also off of Main Street. It's one of my clients. Their name is Lord Rush Collectibles, and they are a Pokemon TCG shop. So basically, they sell Pokemon to little kids. They collect, they trade, and you can actually play the game of Pokemon. It's really interesting and cool. Also, the best costume wins $100. So it'll be a really, really good time. It's on October 19th from 6 to 10 p.m. I'll also be there. I'm there for every trade night. We have an absolute blast with all the kids. We usually have around 100 to 200 people there every trade night. So it's actually a really big showing and a really big turnout. They're actually located on Main Street and Preston as well. So right downtown, very nice place to go to and have a good time with the kiddos. And now I'm going to show some love to my hometown, Salina. I love Salina. So they're having a really, really big event on October 12th, starting at 11 a.m. and our downtown historic square. Enjoy a day filled with traditional German festivities, including live music, authentic food, and craft beer. Obviously 21 plus. Participate in fun activities such as costume contests and games for all ages. This is also a family-friendly event that celebrates rich cultural heritage and vibrant community spirit of Salina. So don't miss out on the fun. Bring your friends and family for an unforgettable day at Salina's Oktoberfest.
Very nice. Well, yeah, you have to be 21 to drink beer, but you can be under 21 and participate in the costume contest. Downtown Salina is a fantastic venue. So if you haven't seen Downtown Salina, go check that out for sure. Well, thank you, Ethan. Love that stuff. Lennon, if you don't mind, if you can pull up the stuff going on, and we'll continue the downtown theme. We've got to continue to share some love for downtown Frisco as it's undergoing construction. What it's going to look like in the future is going to be fantastic. Right now, we need to frequent those businesses while it's going on, while the construction is going on. Speaking of things going on, at the NAC Theater, The Extraordinary Card Magic of Jason Ledane, October 18th and 19th at 8 p.m. If you haven't seen this dude on TikTok or Reels and things like that, search up his name. I think it's Card Magic by Jason is his handle. Go check it out. He's hilarious, and he does some amazing stuff with cards. So these events will sell out. The tickets prices are at the bottom there. It's a nice, cozy venue, about 250 seats in the NAC Theater. So it's a really special thing that he's touring the country, and he's stopping right here in downtown Frisco for a couple nights. So come check that out. Also in November, we've got another comedic act coming to the NAC Theater. Lennon, there you go. Tom Cotter is coming. He's been on America's Got Talent. This one is an 18-plus show, so there is a little bit of naughty language, I believe, that may happen there, but that is coming Saturday, November 16th this year. 7:30 and 9 p.m. are the show times there, so definitely check out Mr. Cotter coming to the NAC Theater. And then I do also want to continue to promote the incubator for Frisco ISD. This splash graphic here is for a breakfast that's in the past, but I want this to be up there because the contact person is Miss Ashley Sign. She's a member of Leadership Frisco this year. She is the head of this program. It's called the Incubator EDU, and essentially what it is, it's 5 of the 13 high schools in Frisco have this program, and it's basically like a Shark Tank for high school kids, high school kids who want to be entrepreneurs. So it's an opportunity for them to present an idea, a service, a product to a committee, a board member, a committee of folks, local entrepreneurs and leaders in the community that will vote on those projects and then potentially get them to a national competition, which then would be funded. So just a really awesome, unique program here in Frisco. And the reason I bring it up again is volunteers are needed. So if you're a local business owner, entrepreneur, or any adult who has a volunteer spirit, entrepreneurial spirit that wants to get involved, reach out to Ashley. That QR code was up there on the screen, and her email address is up there on the screen. There it is right there. She will get you pointed to the right people in the right high schools. All right. With that, also, a couple more things to mention. Want to mention some news on our creator of The Difference, Mr. Landon Wilson, who published a book a couple months ago, and it has shot up the charts. There it is right there. The Entrepreneurial Difference is the name of the book. You can order it with that QR code right there. It has now it's cracked the top 100. There you see it, number 95 right there on Amazon. So amazing stuff in the two and a half months or so, Landon, that it's been in market. So get your book. They're selling out quick. And really what it is it's an all-encompassing business development and business building tutorial that you can just read through it, immerse yourself in it, and it's going to do nothing but help you on your business, on your time management, all the above. So please check that out before it gets help make it get to number 1. Heck, let's go. All right. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is the Business Development Alliance. So that is one of the functions of the Community Difference shows. You're watching the Frisco Community Difference. There's also another one in Plano hosted by Mr. Nathan Smith. And we are launching Business Development Alliance sessions in every community. So Plano is on number 2. They will have their second one this afternoon. So immediately after the show, hop in your car, run out to Plano. It's at the First Methodist Church, I believe it is.
First Christian Church. First Christian Church downtown.
Okay. Thank you, Landon. The First Christian Church, downtown Plano. It's on 15th Street in Plano, downtown. And then there's an hour session of free business development tutorial led by Landon in the background there. And then after that, we'll walk across the street to the Voodoo Lounge and Brewery in downtown Plano. And it's just a networking, get to know you, anybody's welcome happy hour. So that would be from 5 to 7 p.m. this evening. So the tutorial goes from 4 to 5, and then the happy hour is from 5 to 7. So if you have the time and the ability to come out, come say hello, come learn some stuff, and we'll see you there tonight. Also, I want to mention the fact that we will be doing the same thing in Frisco starting the second week of Tuesday. Hot off the presses, it will be at Blue Mesa, and the timing will be coming out as well once we get that contract inked. But, plan ahead for the second Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening for the same sort of thing, an hour tutorial and a 2-hour happy hour, get to know you sort of thing. So that's what I have, and I think that's all we have on the docket for today. I also wanted to mention, since Landon chimed in a little bit earlier, I have to show my Texas A&M shirt here because there's a certain football game going on this weekend, tomorrow on Saturday, with his Arkansas Razorbacks. I guess they're technically the home team, but it's at AT&T Stadium versus Texas A&M Aggies. We'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens. We've already had one showdown. So the reason I'm wearing the shirt, my daughter goes there. My son goes to Oklahoma State, who also played Arkansas earlier in the year. and won by the skin of their teeth. So we'll see if he can get us back in, round number 2.
Yeah, I got to at least get a split out of this. This is not going to be good.
Yeah, so if there's any proposed wagers anybody wants to throw on the chat room, happy to entertain any sort of wagers. We may show up wearing the opponent's jersey or whatever. Whatever creative ideas you want to come up with, we'll entertain as long as they're family appropriate. All right, with that being said, we're going to wrap up the What's Up Frisco segment, take a quick commercial break, and on the backside, we are going to dive in to the business topic of the month, which is, again, effective top-of-mind strategies, how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. So more to come on that topic, but right now, a quick commercial break.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. So the next segment, as I mentioned before the commercial break, we're talking about the business topic of the month. You see it on the bottom of the screen there, effective top-of-mind strategies, how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. We've had some really awesome insights on this topic throughout the month, and I'm interested to hear our guest perspective, of course, our co-host as well. But Danny, I want to ask the first question toward you. You mentioned it earlier, right? And I'm curious from the Nielsen perspective, right? Who, from a branding perspective, brand measurement, metrics, and things like that. You mentioned it also when we talked about what you're excited to talk about on the show today. From a market measurement company standpoint, without the idea of being top of mind without being salesy and self-promoting. Hey, Scott, what's going on? Thanks for chiming in. Good to see you listening today. But from that perspective, from your perspective, how does a big company, take that attitude of not being salesy, not being self-promoting, but also staying top of mind? Just give me your high-level perspective.
I think that it starts with they have to understand themselves. What's that unique selling proposition that they have? And it's not that they're selling per se. If you were to just ask the customers of that product or service, well, what differentiates them from the competitors? You'll find out some pretty interesting things from them, and that's their perception of that company and their brand. Just because they believe that they have either high quality or good customer service or some other attribute doesn't mean that their customers share that attitude. And so as a result, they really have to know themselves, and they have to understand how they're perceived in the marketplace. And then that's what they can build on. Because if they try to emphasize a narrative that's inconsistent with how they're viewed, well, it's just going to fall on deaf ears. And I think the best example of this is that think back when FedEx got started. They were Federal Express because they were emphasizing the federal, that they were associated with government contracts that gave them legitimacy. No one had ever seen a service like that at that time. But then as it goes on, people started to refer to them as FedEx. And isn't it interesting that around 2000, they rebranded and they changed everything to say FedEx. And they put that little arrow in the negative space of their logo. And now they have consistent coloring, consistent logo, and it's now top of mind with everyone when they see that logo.
Yeah, that's a great example. I really like that. And the consistency word that you mentioned there, they're consistent across everything. It's a, consistent service. If you're shipping something FedEx, it's going to get there. And if it doesn't, you have the ability to track it and make sure that, you track it down. So great points right there. Debbie, I'll kick it over to you if you want to ask the next question.
Yeah. So, Mario, this is for you. As far as trying to make sure that people understand the concept of what is LG Academy all about, how would you say that leveraging storytelling might be something that you kind of lean towards with your academy?
Right. Yeah. So thank you, Debbie. So when you're telling a story, usually you have a beginning part of like kind of where you were at, right? So you're talking about when the student, before they got to our school, what they were, having issues with or whatever it was. Maybe it was bullying, maybe it was dyslexia, maybe it was being in a large setting and not really getting one-on-one that they need. Maybe it was them feeling stressed out and added pressure or whatever it is. So at the beginning, you're telling, and you have a beginning, right? And then you have a middle, right? And so now you have a middle. Okay, now I'm looking for something. Something has to change. And then that's where usually the LG Academy comes into play, because people are looking for an alternative education solution for their student athlete. And then you transition to the end, right? At the end, you usually have a beautiful story. Stories end well, but that also within that story, you have some pain, you have some, heartache, some adversity, you have some different things that you had to endure. So at the end, you're able to tell like the finished product or now how they're feeling. So I think it just correlates to a story very beautifully, right? Because all you have to do is get people to understand that, every story once had a beginning, right? You had to go through something to get to the end, right? So when you put that in perspective, everybody has read stories, they're reading books, they're listening to podcasts, they're engaged in some type of story, right? So the art of storytelling and telling a story so that people can really fully understand what it is that you're doing. I think it just makes them understand better what it is that you're doing when you're trying to create a brand or tell any type of story for what your business is doing. People can kind of just feel it. They can feel that story because that story can relate to them. And some part of the story, they'll be like, I can identify with that when it comes to storytelling. So that's kind of how we utilize it in our business, and creating videos and having our students share their experience. That definitely helps too as well.
Yeah, I know when you and I talked, you were even like someday wanting them to be able to even do a podcast themselves and teaching them, how to do that. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think they can even utilize those storytellings, because I know something else you talked about is you teach not just the athletic side, but the nutritional side. And now they're having to teach that even to their parents. So, if they learn how to tell the story and explain, then their parents are going to more understand that, oh, what are you telling me what to cook, you kid? But then they can feel that they're part of the story, So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love that too, in that, you're utilizing the people who have benefited from what your services are, right? To tell the testimonial of what you're doing. So as far as staying top of mind, you're not shouting from the rooftops what you guys do. You're letting other people do that for you. So you have brand ambassadors out there as in the form of the folks that have either benefited from what you guys do, whether it's the students, the parents, who knows, the future athletic programs that they go into. That would be your next level of brand ambassadorship right there. I think that's fantastic. That's a great way to get your name out there, stay top of mind without saying it yourself, right? Ethan, I'm going to kick it over to you. What you got for the group?
Absolutely. So my question's for Danny. Obviously, Nielsen's the top data company, if not they're second or first. I don't know where they're located as far as the data and analytics goes, but you guys have a lot of data coming in for at least streaming services and TV, as well as free resources all over your website as well. So how can a business nationwide or a small local business use that type of data and that type of analytics to better promote their business, whether it's in the streaming platform? I know you guys are also doing some resources on podcasting as well. So where do you kind of see your resources fit in with all businesses, no matter what type of business they are?
Well, so I think Ethan, we can start at the top and kind of work our way down. So you talk about the big businesses that they're subscribing to those services. So whether it's the podcast ratings, whether it's just regular radio ratings, television ratings, whatever, they're subscribing to that so that they can understand their audience. And they want to understand their audience because they want to know what resonates with them, make sure that they're offering programming that resonates with that audience. And at the same time, they're obviously trying to sell advertising because that's in their best self-interest. And then you get down to, say, the smaller companies that they may not be able to afford to have a subscription to those types of ratings, but they just have to understand the macro level industry that they're in so that they can ensure that they're serving their particular client group. And so, just like you said, there are a lot of resources out there on the Nielsen website. And that's actually part of our branding, which is to make thought leadership pieces available to those companies at no cost. Now, it's absolutely top line information. It gives them insight on the industry overall, but it does add value to them. So it helps the Nielsen brand because it keeps us at the forefront of their mind. It benefits them to some degree by putting that information out in the public domain. So I think that's actually ways in which we work together to benefit one another. But certainly the smaller companies have an opportunity to take advantage of those macro level trends and see how they can tap into it.
Absolutely. I totally agree as far as just how the smaller businesses can use those resources to continue to grow. And I like the strategy from Nielsen when it comes to giving away not only those free resources, but top of the line resources, and makes you top of mind when it comes to, Nielsen put out, a podcast list on why it's important, how many people listen in, why to do a podcast, why to start a podcast. And a resource like a podcast can really make your business stay top of mind and be a good marketing strategy as well.
Exactly. And isn't it interesting that what's old is new again? I remember as a kid looking forward to the Thursday newspaper because they would show the Nielsen ratings. What were the top rated programs? I mean, so even when I was 12 years old, I was interested in something like that. And then you started to kind of see that fade away. It wasn't as much interest, but then along comes streaming. So now you've got the new kid on the block and everyone's interested in what are the top streamed programs. And so when we put out that top 10 or top 25 list, there's actually a lot of interest and a lot of uptake. So what was old, it's new again, just in a little different iteration.
That is the truth. And Danny, I mentioned I had a short stint at Nielsen in my previous life in my career, and also had a longer stint with a company called PepsiCo, who I believe we utilized from retail measurement side, we utilized IRI, one of your competitors. But the idea is the same in that obviously we wanted to see how our brands were performing in the marketplace, and looking at what scans from major retailers. That's the data that essentially PepsiCo was purchasing. But another project that we worked on was partnerships. Partnering with other brands and utilizing some of the retail measurement data to understand who's trending, what marketplace and what markets that we wanted to get into, what market segments we wanted to get into from a partnership standpoint. And I say that from a big corporate standpoint to bring it down to more the local community level. And I wanted to ask the group, do you know of, or have you utilized any partnerships, collaborative type partnerships, not to sell yourself, but to help sell that other business? So I want to get your guys' take on that aspect of it, which is going to lead me to a question that I'm going to ask here shortly. But I guess the question to you guys immediately is, have you ever utilized a partnership or a collaboration with another business to raise each other's businesses and marketing efforts?
Absolutely. For myself, at least, I partner with nonprofits all the time to just try to help their mission and their goal for their nonprofit and to really get them out there more. Obviously, when you own a business, you have so many avenues you can go down and so many things you have to focus on when you're just as an entrepreneur and a business owner. You have so many things to focus on. So a lot of these nonprofits don't have time to focus on their marketing. They don't have time to, edit these videos, create these graphics, do these pictures, whatever it might be. So for myself, I work with companies like Little Hearts of Hope and CC's Angels, who was also, both of them were on the show, actually. So that's just how I can utilize myself and my business for other companies as well.
And Ethan, I would have to imagine that those nonprofits are entities that you want your brand aligned with.
Absolutely.
So it again, it's mutually beneficial for the
Right.
two entities. And it sets the tone for how you are as a business, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. And I think for me, I truly have to believe in that business and their goals and their values, right? If we don't align, then it's probably not going to be the perfect fit for me. So that's just another thing about, being able to help, especially nonprofits, just continue to grow and continue to raise funds for their mission.
Mm-hmm. And isn't that interesting how, again, you start with the big companies and you look at how as soon as something happens either in the public sector or on social media that affects people that are associated with the brand, that brand has to distance themselves from that. Locally, that's even more important. There has to be that consistency between how those alliances and alignments are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I alluded to another question I was going to ask, and this is one that we've asked in previous shows, and I've been curious to get the answers on. The question is this: if I gave you an advertising budget of $100,000, right? The only stipulation is you can't mention your service or product in your ads or whatever marketing effort you're going to do. What would you do? How would you spend that $100,000 to stay top of mind in the community or with your audience? That's a tough one. So you can't, basically the idea is we're not self-promoting, right? We got $100,000 to advertise, but we can't say our product or service. What are you going to do with it?
So I think, like he said, it's more about collaborating. So you want to get with other people who are doing something similar where they can, be your customers or be people that you're trying to attract, right? And I think once you are representing, right? So let's say I'm coming as LG Academy, like my energy is great. Like I have a positive mindset. So when I'm in that environment, I feel like my brand, who I am as a person, should speak for itself. So people then now what they're going to do is say, let me look up LG Academy. For example, we were at Kidzania today, and they're like, oh, these kids are amazing. They look like athletes, right? So the lady immediately, without me saying anything, she looked up LG Academy on social media, right? So I think who you are, what you represent, the energy that you bring, whether you're volunteering, you're around other people that do something that like you never have to say what you do, but people are going to walk in and know, you know what, I know she does something. They always say you're athletic, you run, you do something. So I think if your brand represents who you are, it's easy to attract those that you want in your business without even really selling yourself. And then they'll just start to research and get to know you, and you can make that connection.
Right. And I think to that, even that point of, spending that money, it doesn't necessarily have to, again, be in promoting yourself. I look at it like, I talked on the show yesterday is love the military because my husband's a retired military. So, if you could pull together a Saporium or whatever, so expose or something with other providers, you're not promoting yourself, you're with others, and you're just educating them on the transition. And because, in the financial industry, you're just promoting and educating. But if you had all these other resources for them that they knew, and it's all about educating, not about, hey, you need to come buy this product, but it's just say, hey, this is a resource, this is a resource, this is a resource, and we're all partnering together, and you're utilizing that money to maybe, of course, support and get the word out about this whole group of a whole bunch of people. And then you can still give it to a nonprofit with the veterans, because there's, so many of them. But I got to look at it like partnership, like what Mariele was saying. But it's more of focused on education, not sales, So.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think Nielsen does a great job at that too. When it comes to, they're not selling their data first; they're giving away that free data for those companies who really, really need it.
Mhm.
Exactly. And then it's consistent with your brand, because like the example Debbie used, they can invest in information pieces that help with financial literacy.
Right.
Marielle talked about nutrition. What are things that we can do to educate nutrition that feeds into what she does? And certainly the example you used for Nielsen.
Absolutely.
Yep. When you add value to people, I feel like then they feel like you actually care about them. You've built a relationship of you're trying to add value and help them to be better. And I feel like anytime you help someone else become better in their life, then they're more prone to want to get to know you and connect with you too as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
As far as my last question goes, this one's actually for Danny. Earlier in the segment, we talked about how you can self-reflect on your own brand and you want to see how that looks like, but it also has to look the same for your primary target market, right? Mm-hmm. But how can a brand figure out if their primary target market agrees with and aligns with how that company thinks they look? Like, what are some methods you would use to figure out, hey, like, you think you look like this, and then your primary target market thinks you're all the way over here, right? So what kind of methods are you using to figure something of that sort out?
And I think that's where companies need to invest in some sort of marketing research. So whether it's a focus group where they get members of their primary target market together, they ask them these questions about, well, what's your perception of this organization? Or you show them a product and ask them, well, if you were to describe this product, how would you describe it? Is it high quality, low quality, flavorful, not flavorful, whatever it is. And those people, that group will give you their true opinions on how they see that product or service. And the question is how they see it. Is that aligned with what you believe about your business? We all keep customer lists. And so as a result, we can interview our customers on various aspects of our product or service to see if that's what it is that we believe is true. And I think that's just one way to go about doing that.
That's great. Great insight there. Great insights from everybody, guys. Again, I appreciate your guys' perspective on this topic. And I like how we have more like a larger national perspective along with a local perspective. That's the first time we've had that this month. So appreciate both of you guys' perspectives on that. What I'm going to do right now, we do need to take one more commercial break here. Give our sponsors some love. And on the backside, what I want to do is give our guests some love, right? Let's dive into your stories, your drivers, your whys. So with that, we've got Nathan now at the helm behind the scenes. So Nathan, go ahead and take us to commercial break.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Enjoy DFW's most fun, affordable night out and catch the Rough Riders, the AA affiliate of the Rangers, at beautiful Riders Field in Frisco. Get your tickets at ridersbaseball.com. The Frisco Rough Riders, the future stars of your Texas Rangers.
Are you or someone you know pregnant or planning to conceive? Caitlin Smith is both a certified childbirth doula and instructor offering childbirth classes to couples wanting an unmedicated, physiological birth outside of the hospital setting. Caitlin has served the local community since 2021 and specializes in working closely with midwives, all while best supporting a mother's physical body, her partner, and the birth environment. You can contact Caitlin through Instagram at thismamadoula or email her at caitlinsmithdoula@gmail.com to learn more about childbirth classes or her doula services.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. Well, this is the time of the show where we're going to dive into our guests a little bit. I want to hear your guys' stories, right? This is one of my favorite segments of every show, just to get to know you guys a little bit better, and more importantly, the audience, right? So as we do with all things, we'll go ladies first. Marielle, tell us your story. How did you start LG Academy?
Yeah, so a little bit about my background, just so that you understand before I bring you fast forward. So I started running track at the age of 6. So got a D1 scholarship to Tennessee State University, ran the 100, 200, then long jump in the 4x1. So there's where the athletic part, the track and field came in. And then once I got to college, I decided to major in education, went into teaching, have a master's in administration supervision. And then also I hit some adversity right after I graduated from college. I almost died. I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I had 1.5 foot of my small intestine removed. So therefore I knew I had a greater purpose on this earth, right? And so it left me to figuring out what it was. Well, fast forward, my son, Nalo, he's 12 now, but at the time he was in the 1st grade and he was diagnosed with dyslexia. He was struggling in school. I had to constantly come up there. He was having behavior issues, just things that were out of the norm for him. And so my husband and I just decided to pull him out and homeschool him, because what he was dealing with was more of like from an emotional standpoint of how to handle now having dyslexia and all of this stuff and feeling challenged and pressure. And so once I started homeschooling him and just seeing him rebuild his confidence and just how much he has grown, I started having other parents. So really, my why is for those parents who are, who have children who don't really fit into that box, the mold. They're different, they're unique. They're working through their growth and they really need more one-on-one time to really help them to grow. So, my why is strong. It wakes me up every single day because I know there are families out there that are searching. They're not equipped to homeschool their kids, but they want somebody who is passionate about helping them be the best version of themselves in all areas, and focusing on helping them overcome the emotional part, because we know if we can help them with the frustration, understanding that piece, then whatever hurdle they're going to tackle when it comes to education, they'll be able to overcome, and then they can be their authentic self. So if they're active and busy boys, right, they get to be free, just no restrictions. So that kind of, is what brought me to creating, our LG Academy, because I saw being in the public school system, what was missing, what was lacking, being an athlete, what I wish I had from a mental standpoint of having a better work ethic, just a higher mindset. So then I just created what I felt like was the ideal situation for student athletes who really want to take themselves to the next level, becoming the best version of themselves.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. That's a service that if we talk about unique products and services, that is certainly fits that mold right there. That's a fantastic story. Thank you, Marielle, for sharing that. And that, again, what we're trying to do is make sure that the audience hears what your why is. It doesn't get much better than that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. Danny, how about yourself? What drives you, my man?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great to know that Marielle and I have a similar background coming out of track. So I was a distance runner, and it's funny how you take that running discipline and you apply it to everything. I also use that as an analogy that running is kind of like marketing research. You either love it or you hate it. If you hate it, you get out of it. If you love it, you keep doing it, which is I'm almost 40 years in this industry. And I love the fact that it drives my curiosity, that you can always dig deeper into the data. And then I also recognize the fact that I've just reached a stage in my career where you want to make sure that you're giving back to that industry. I have an opportunity to teach adjunct at Collin College, teaching principles of marketing as well as marketing research. And so it's an opportunity to give to the next generation. If that can inspire curiosity or interest in data analytics or marketing research, and that feeds the industry for years to come, then it's a great way to give back to an industry that I've certainly enjoyed my career in.
That's awesome. Like you said, you either love it or hate it, and either way, whether it's marketing research or running, it does the body good, or it does the mind good, or does the industry good, right? So,
yes,
if the old theory, if it doesn't kill you, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
And that is certainly true in running. So,
especially long distance running, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that, and that's great to know that you're giving back to the youth through Collin College. So good for you on that. Love that. With that, we're going to take our final commercial break, and we're going to do what's the difference segment. And I've got a good question based on now that I know you guys a little bit better. So stay tuned for that segment, and I'll be asking that question on the backside. With that, Nathan, take us to break, bud.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
All right, welcome back. As you heard, this is the What's the Difference segment. So this is, I think, our third time doing this. We used to have a rapid fire. This one's a little bit more deeper. So I'm going to ask a question on what the difference is between two different things. The topic this week is decision making. Okay, and I thought this was particularly appropriate given who our guests are. And the question is this, guys: what's the difference between data-driven decision making and instinct-driven decision making? Again, what's the difference between data-driven decision making and instinct-driven decision making? Again, no right or wrong answer. What I will do is read the Webster's Dictionary answer to that question once I hear all your opinions. Since data-driven came first in that question, Danny, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I'll bet you the difference is about hundreds of thousands of dollars in either success or failure. So it's interesting because there's obviously I have a predisposition toward data driven, and no matter how much research you do, no matter how much the data supports, new product launches always have high rates of failure, and so no one can ever guarantee success, no matter how much data they collect. But it can certainly help you avoid easy failures. Conversely, even though it might be instinct driven, it's probably based on observation. It's based on that person's ability to informally collate the information that they're seeing. So as a result, even though we classify that as instinctual, I'd have to say that it's data driven, and so very little difference. Just one is more formal than the other.
Okay, I like that. Marielle, what's your opinion on this? What's your answer to this question?
Man, Danny, you summed it up very, very well with how you put it, where they're both essentially pretty much the same. It's just kind of how you look at it. I feel like from an instinct, it's basically what you've been through in your life, things that you've seen, that you've experienced. So it's why you think something, and then with the data, it's black or white. Like, this is what we researched. It is what it is. But they both, I think, are very, I feel like you should just put them together, because now you're able to use two different perspectives and come together, because like you said, you can't guarantee that one's going to work without the other. But if you can have both of them, then I feel like it's a game changer to help you, because now you have two different aspects that you're looking at from, what's going to help your company or product to grow. So
I like that. Good answer, Marielle. Debbie, what are your thoughts on this? I'm curious, from a local standpoint and somebody who, educates on finances. So what's your thoughts?
It's interesting because listening to both of them, it really is. I love both of their answers, and I was thinking along the same line. But I don't know, when I think data, I think it's kind of like the market. You cannot predict the market, and so, but you can predict the history of the market. So if you look back when we're doing hypotheticals or things like that to help people see the investment side and understand it, I'm looking back at the history, and we're pulling off the history, versus then if I just decide, okay, I'm going to pick this fund and this fund and this fund, I'm going off of the things that I know and instinct based on that person, but I'm still going off of the data that has been through the history. So they are intertwined. And if I have both of them, then I'm going to be able to set up success for that person to hopefully meet their financial goals. So that's kind of what my thoughts being on the numbers side.
Okay, I like that. As our youngest member of the difference, Ethan, I'm curious to get your opinion on this question.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to data, I'm a big data nerd as well. I like looking at the analytics for all my clients. But if you compare the two, instinctual, it's just a gut feeling. Like, you just think to yourself, okay, this is what's going to have to happen. And even if you have data or not, it's just that gut feeling you're always going to have. Whereas if you're using data, that's a measurable source. Like, you can see the history, you can see what it looks like, but at the same time, the history of it only gets you so far. And sometimes the present only gets you so far. And then, for instance, like stocks and stuff, you could have the history of it just going up and down, but then you have crashes too, right? You can just go all the way down to the bottom. So they're both important. They both, like Debbie said, they intertwine. But the difference is one's measurable and one's really, I'd say, a gut feeling. I mean, you could measure your instincts and what you do within those instincts, right? I mean, if you're leaving tallies somewhere on a whiteboard or something. But that would be what the difference is to me, is one's measurable and one's more or less just a gut feeling. And that's just how I would describe it.
Yeah, if the history were perfect, wouldn't we all have great fantasy football teams right now?
Great analogy, Danny. And I could use a little more history going in my favor right now. I like this question a lot because I come from it. My background, again, I mentioned I was in corporate America. And I worked for Nielsen for a couple of years. We utilized the Nielsen focus group information my favorite job in corporate America to this day was the innovation group that I worked in, launching new products at PepsiCo. Hi, Nathan. How are you, buddy? You're on the screen now. So that was always very, like you said, Danny, data-driven, using the focus group information in launching a product. So it was very calculated and trying to be as risk averse as possible. Inherently, launching a new product is risky, but you can take a lot of the risk out with the data that you gather.
Yep.
The other aspect I think about too is playing poker. I love to play poker.
Love it.
And as you're playing poker, you're gathering data of the folks that are at the table with you. It's a lot easier to do in person than online, right? So, but you can see betting patterns. You can tell who's aggressive, who isn't. So as you're gathering data on the players, you're also formulating your own instincts to say, okay, either this person's betting out of his or her norm, or something just doesn't feel right about this bet, right? Whatever the case may be. But you're gathering that data, and then you're acting instinctually. And I think the best poker players are a good combination of those two things. Yep. So those are my thoughts on it. Here's the Webster's Dictionary answer, and then we'll wrap up. So the answer to the question, again, what's the difference between data-driven decision-making and instinct-driven decision-making? The Webster's Dictionary answer is data-driven decision-making relies on quantitative analysis and objective evidence to guide choices. Instinct-driven decision-making is based on intuition and experience, often using gut feelings to navigate uncertainty. So again,
there you go. That gut feeling, Ethan.
Right. I think we all kind of touched on it, and I love the different perspectives from all of our different backgrounds, all of our different businesses, because certainly they're applicable. And I truly do believe that there's a good combination. A happy medium is probably the best place to be coming from in those types of decision making. So great answers, guys. You freaking nailed it, right? We got the Webster's Dictionary answer pretty much covered from all angles. So with that, guys, we will wrap the show. It's been a pleasure having you guys on as guests, both Mariele and Danny. Thank you for your insights today. One thing I like to ask our guests at the end of the show is what your key takeaway was from the show. So with that, Mariele, what is your key takeaway from today?
I think one thing that Danny said that I want to take away is really figuring out my audience and going to them, right? Like actually getting that data, right, to make a decision off of what they want, not what I feel based off of my expertise, because this is what I do and this is my gut feeling. But now, going straight to the audience. So that's something that I'm going to take away and add now. I was going straight to my target market, asking them, getting their feedback and getting that data so that way I'm not just trying to guess if this information is really working, stuff like that. So that's a takeaway that I'm definitely going to be utilizing.
Love it. Good stuff. Danny, how about yourself? What's your key takeaway from today?
I would say the emphasis on those key partnerships that are consistent with your brand, how it benefits both parties. And I thought it's always great to hear that, how both parties can benefit. And at the same time, though, you can help improve the environment that you're in.
Yeah, 100%. Top of mind, right? That's one way to stay top of mind. Appreciate that. Good insight. Love it. Debbie, how about yourself? What's your key takeaway from today?
I just love the podcast because I get to meet such unique and wonderful people that I guess my biggest takeaway is, listening to Danny and learning from him. And then even I talked to Mariele and just learning more about her, but her desire. And she just really inspires me with her heart to give back. And so I just want to keep learning and growing and meeting new people. And I just love it.
Awesome. Well, good answer, because we get to do all of that on the podcast on a weekly basis. And,
yes.
That's what we do, right? It's a lifelong living and learning. So, appreciate that insight. Ethan, what about yourself? What's your key takeaway from today?
I think for me, it's just being able to self-reflect and what Danny said earlier, being able to align with what you want your business to look like and how you want it to play out in your mind, but seeing what your primary target market thinks of your business. Because you could be straight down the middle and they're left to right. And if you don't self-reflect and if you don't get those answers to those questions, you'll never know, and you'll never get the maximum growth of your business or the maximum knowledge for your so-called client, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, it's just being able to align myself where I want it to be and see how I can get my market to be aligned with me and not just stray away.
Love it. Hey, like I said, we're all learning. So we can all glean some nuggets out of every show. And that's why I love hosting the show, because I get to learn every single week. Debbie and Ethan, great to see you guys again. Thank you for co-hosting today. It was a pleasure having you guys. And Danny and Marielle, thank you so much for being our guests today. It was a pleasure getting to know you guys on a deeper level. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back here next week, 2:30. Come to the BDA tonight out in Plano if you're able to. But until next week, we will see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus. Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending. Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Morgan. Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies. Kristen King Marketing Rep with the Frisco Rough Riders. And by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.